The November 26th, 2018 meeting of the Colerain Township Zoning Commission will come to order. First of all, I'd like to ask everyone to silence their phone. And next, could we all have will you all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Farron?
Here.
Mr. Grody?
Here.
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? Mr. Westfall?
Here. Mr. Taylor not answering. Mr. Garrett, please. Mr. Pace, please come join us. Does anybody have any changes or additions to the minutes of the last meeting?
Make the motion they be approved as written.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that the minutes of the September 18th, 2018 meeting be approved. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Farron?
Yes.
Mr. Grody?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes,
Mr. Pace?
Yes.
Mr. Westfall?
Aye. Motion carried. There is no public address? Well, I said that, but there isn't. I know there isn't. There's no, okay, we're in a final development plan now. The first case is ZA 2006-07 Triple Creek Retirement Community, a final development plan for an addition. Does staff have a presentation?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This should look pretty familiar to you as you saw a major modification to a preliminary development plan just 2 months ago. And in fact, most of the detail from the FDP that's required in the FDP was actually presented to you at that time. This is a request for just under 2,500 square foot, one-story addition to the back of the existing Triple Creek Nursing Facility. The reason that this project went through the major modification to a PDP is because the request is essentially to increase the density from what was allowed at 18 units per acre up to 19.4 units per acre. That was approved, recommended unanimously by this board and unanimously by your Board of Trustees. I'm not going to hit too heavily on these slides because, again, you did see them just 2 months ago. Triple Creek Nursing Facility located in the northeast corner of I-275 and Pippin Road across from the Triple Creek Park. It is zoned as Planned District Business, and remember we discussed that briefly last time that this is not Planned District Residential. It is Planned District Business. An aerial image looking south towards 275 and then looking north away from 275 here, northwest-ish. It's a rather large facility. It's, I believe, just over 52,000 square feet. The proposed addition is in the back here. Again, just under 2,500 square feet. Would be not viewable from public right-of-way of Pippin Road. You can see on the general site plan there, the addition kind of highlighted there in the darker color. Floor plan, and again, highlighting that proposed addition. This is the site layout for the final development plan. The only thing to really call your attention to here are 2 trees which will be removed and replaced due to the construction back there. Lot coverage is still in compliance with the zoning regulations. The addition will meet the minimum setbacks requirements, and the architectural requirements are only apply to the street front of the building, so they don't apply back here. But again, the applicant did, during the PDP discussion, submit elevation drawings. This is to match the existing building. The other image of note here is the photometric plan. This does meet zoning requirements. There are not going to be any issues at the lot at the property line. Again, some images. This is the existing facility. This is from essentially the front of the building, Pippin Road side of the building. Very nice, clean facility. Some of the independent living villas. And then this is looking from those villas back to where the addition will be situated on the right side of that image there. Some more images of that same, and then kind of looking back towards those villas around the service driveway. Staff's recommendation is approval of the final development plan with the following conditions: that all conditions approved as part of Colerain ZA 2006-07 shall remain in effect for the subject site, and that the proposed development be permitted a maximum density of 19.4 beds per acre as approved by the Colerain Zoning Commission and the Colerain Township trustees. Staff would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Mr. Grody, do you have any questions for staff?
Not at this time.
Mrs. Smith?
No questions?
Mr. Pace?
No questions.
Mr. Ferry?
No questions.
Does the applicant have anything to, have a presentation? I almost said have anything to say.
Good evening. My name is Michael Brandon with the Manick and Smith Group. We're the civil engineers and manage planning for Trilogy Health Services. I think the presentation you received is pretty complete. I'm just here to answer. Welcome. Feel free to ask me any questions. I'll do my best to answer them.
Mr. Ferry?
No questions.
Mr. Pace?
No additional questions.
Mrs. Smith?
No questions?
Mr. Grody?
No questions.
Okay. No, this is, you can sit down. The chair would entertain a motion to open the public.
There's no public hearing on a final development plan.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have to do sign sheets. My apologies. Ignore.
Yes.
We'll keep the record.
The chair would entertain a motion to accept this.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion regarding case ZA 2006-07, Triple Creek Retirement Community, that this be approved as presented to us by staff this evening.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept case ZA 2006-07, Triple Creek Retirement Community. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Mr. Grody,
Yes.
Mrs. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Pace,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Aye. You're ready to go.
One technicality. Did you say 7 or 6?
Sure,
I'm
he's
not
got,
going to stamp it until tomorrow.
7 or did you say 6?
cool.
It's 06
You're quite welcome. Thank you. Yes,
Happy
have
Thanksgiving.
a yes. Have a happy Thanksgiving. You as well. Next on the agenda is case ZA 2014-09 Chick-fil-A. They're asking a minor amendment to a final development plan. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. You have seen a couple of modifications come through for the Chick-fil-A site relatively recently. The original FDP was approved in March of 2015 with 3 conditions, and then we did see this applicant back twice in April and September of 2016. Once the restaurant was open for business, this was to address some parking issues and some circulation issues on the site, which I think we've finally achieved some good circulation through that site. The request this evening is actually for 2 what we consider to be accessory structures. This is a very minor modification. You see on the screen there, this is actually the landscape plan, but this is what was most recently approved through the last minor modification in September 2016. We are going to be focusing our attention this evening on the south and east side of this building where the drive-through interactions happen. This is a Google Street View from Colerain Avenue. Obviously, a very nice-looking property. They do a nice job keeping their property well-maintained. An image of the current drive-through configuration. And then kind of getting on site there, and you can see their dumpster's actually screened really well considering it's in the middle of that parking lot there. Have some nice landscaping, but we are looking at the south side of this building, so we're facing north here. And then along the back of that drive-through, as you turn through there, and then across the back of the building. So what the applicant is proposing, and I know that this is difficult to see, so I'm hoping you had a chance to look at your packets there. There are two areas that we were looking at, again, on the south and then the east side of the property. They're proposing two rather significantly sized canopy structures, but staff doesn't find any issue with this sizing. So the first one I want to take a look at is actually the food delivery canopy. It's difficult to see here, but kind of running up and down on the center of that screen there, the applicant is proposing an approximately 680 square foot canopy. This is to cover the food delivery area windows. And then the second larger canopy on the south side of that building, it does kind of go around the curve there. The applicant had not provided a measurements for that. Staff estimates that to be approximately 1,000 square feet. This is proposed to be a freestanding accessory structure, whereas the 680 square foot canopy on the east side of the building will actually be attached to the building. Let's see, they did provide a slight elevation drawing where they are going to have some heaters as well as fans under there. If you go back and look at this side of the building, so it actually will add a little bit more visual interest to this east side of the building. But this is facing away from any public right-of-way, so the architectural standards are not an issue for us. And very quickly, staff did run through conformance with the zoning resolution to make sure that we were hitting everything that we needed to. In this instance, the side and rear yard setback requirements are articulated in Table 8.2, which indicates that no side or rear yard setbacks are required unless this abuts a residential zoning district, which it does not. And then the other item that we need to take a look at is accessory buildings and uses in a business district. Section 10.2.4, which indicates that the total gross floor area of all accessory buildings in a business district shall not exceed 50% of the gross floor area of the principal building or structure. In this instance, we're looking at approximately rounding up 1,700 square feet of canopy, or if we would call that accessory structure. And that is less than 50% of the existing primary structure, which is just over 4,500 square feet. So staff's recommendation is approval of the amended final development plan for 2 new drive-through canopies covering the ordering and the food delivery portions of the drive-through line.
Mr. Grody, do you have any questions for staff?
I do, but I'd like to hear from the candidate or the applicant if they're going to make.
Nobody here.
That's what I'm saying. So hold on.
Okay, Mrs. Smith?
I do have a question, but I also would like to talk to the person that's proposing this.
Mr. Ferry?
I would have questions on signage on those canopies.
There is none proposed, and there would not be any permitted.
Okay, because I know signage up there on that building has been a real issue with us.
I don't anticipate them doing any signage on there, and at this point, staff would not be approving that because it's not within the code.
Because they have a lot of it now that we haven't approved either, but it's there. So,
Temporary.
temporary for 3 years now. So that would be my biggest concern, is just what kind of signage you're going to put on it, if any.
Mr. Pace?
Are they gonna remove the existing cover that's over the food delivery area?
This would be in place of that, yes.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea because those people stand out there and work in the winter, in the summer, everywhere, because they got the fastest drive-through of any place I've ever been. And I think it's a good idea to help the workers there personally. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
Can you clarify that, because I'm not familiar? You mean their employees stand in the drive-through and take the orders as opposed to them going through via a microphone and so forth?
Yes, they do during rush hours.
Okay.
They get right out there and do it, and they put those canvas things up out there and fans, and they stand out there in all kinds of weather.
And in the food service, in the food pickup area, are there employees bringing food
No,
out?
they just shove it out the window like they do. I'm sorry.
They're-
They hand it out the window like everywhere
They
else.
do often have an employee standing outside to hand that along, to make it faster. If you haven't been through there, as far as drive-through experiences go, it's a very nice drive-through experience.
It is, it's very fast.
They do, I did have a conversation with the franchise owner, probably 6 months ago now. They were trying to find other ways to do this. There was a miniature little structure out there. I called him, and as soon as I said something, it was removed. He didn't realize that it was an issue.
Okay.
I believe that this is their more permanent solution, because they do take those big canopy, nice-looking umbrellas out, back and forth. They actually have a register outside many days, and typically they have 3 to 4 employees outside when they have their employees outside.
Yeah, some days you can even pay outside.
Okay.
So they usually have at least 3, sometimes 4 or 5, depending on the weekends. They seem to have more.
Jenna, my concern is, do you have a picture of the finished product? How it's gonna look?
I do not. What we have is that this kind of elevation drawing showing that it's essentially going to be a flat structure there. This is on the east side of the building. So I believe if we go here, you can see the existing canopy here. I believe this one is going to be a little bit higher. It's going to go above these windows. Those windows are going to remain. It's going to go up here.
So on top of the canopy, are they gonna have Chick-fil-A, or is it just gonna be plain?
No.
Nothing.
They are
No
not, they're
signs.
not approved for signage on this, no.
Okay.
Do we have any idea of what the canopy is going to be made of, the roof part?
I thought the one was, hang on one second. Is that in the application packet?
They're showing downspouts, if they're going to handle the water.
Look at sheet A2.
Outside the front. Another Chick-fil-A in the greater Cincinnati area. They had to do something. We have no idea what they're going to look like.
Staff had asked them if there were any in the area that we could take a look at, or if they could send us images, and we didn't. They did not send us any response to that.
Mrs. LeCount, if this is approved, in your opinion, will this give us any problems with other drive-through facilities that are going to want the same, or?
I don't believe so, no. It's my understanding that they're calling this a shade canopy. It was my understanding that the one over the ordering was going to be like a cloth type canopy, but I can't confirm that from these drawings. And then it was my understanding that they were essentially going to take kind of what they have there and extend that further along. That was actually attached to the building.
The building, yeah.
Any other questions or discussion? The chairman would entertain a motion to accept case VA 2014-09 Chick-fil-A. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve ZA 2014-09 Chick-fil-A as written.
Do we have a second? I'll second it. The moved and seconded that we accept ZA 2014-09 Chick-fil-A. Do we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Farring,
Yes.
Mr. Grody,
Yes,
Mrs. Smith,
No?
Mr. Pace,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Aye. Motion carried. Excuse me. We have no public hearings. We have no informal concept review. Any old business? Any new business?
We are in the process of interviewing applicants for the positions that, the terms that expire this year. We're in that process. We're going to take a recommendation to the Board of Trustees at their December meeting.
Okay.
Anybody that we've interviewed in the past or an existing member, we don't need to necessarily interview. Now, if there's somebody that's up for reappointment that wants us to have a discussion with them, we'd be happy to do that, but we don't feel the need to hold an interview with those that are.
which positions are expiring this year?
So Mr. Taylor resigned, so that's going to be an unexpired position. Mr. Pace's position as an alternate, and then Mrs. Smith's position as a primary member.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. That goes with administration too, right?
Yeah, did I jump the gun there? Sorry.
No, that's okay. It is new business. Any announcements?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'd like to wish everybody in this room and in Colerain Township a very happy Thanksgiving. And I hope that everybody has a great time.
Thank you so much for that.
The next meeting, do we have a next meeting? Oh, for sure. Next meeting will be December the 18th, 2018. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Didn't hear anybody. Adjourned.